Press play.
Replay, replay, replay.
Hi guys, you're watching Play Replay with Async. Today I want to talk about the Extraction franchise, I should say. I don't want to say just one movie because there's actually two of them at this point. And I recently watched the second one not too long ago, so I just kind of want to talk about the first one and the second one. I'm not going to really talk about any spoilers because it's not really... The first one came out in 2020 at a bad time, obviously. But it was on Netflix, so it was something for people to watch. So I watched that during that period, and I thought it was a pretty good movie. It should have been on the big screen, honestly. But if you haven't watched it, it's a Netflix movie, and it's... I'll get my notes here. But anyway, the screenplay is by Joe Russo, one of the Russo brothers, you know, the ones that made Endgame and Infinity War and all that. But the director is Sam Hargrave. The reason why I say that is because I want this director's name to get out there because he does a great job. This guy is a very good director. He keeps you know what's going on, and you really can follow the story really well. But I don't want to get into all that right now because I still haven't finished the intro of the movie and all that stuff. But yeah, so the first one costed $65 million to make, I guess. There is no number I could see on the second one, so I don't know how much that costed. Probably close to about the same, but anyway. But it stars Chris Hemsworth, so right away it's a recognizable person, and he plays Tyler Rake. I don't know. He has kind of a rake tattooed on his neck. Maybe that's, I don't know. Anyway, but they're like commandos or whatever, and they're just kind of like underground group of people that's doing, I guess, good things. I don't know. But yeah, he has this, I think she's Indian. I don't know. Anyway, this woman that helps her, she's awesome too. She's even more awesome in the second one. And I don't usually like super powered women fighting like full blown guys that are super strong, because in reality, a full blown guy like super built hitting a woman is not like gonna do well for her, especially with some of the violence that happens toward the. But she does well, and she handles herself, and it's actually believable how she handles herself. But in the first movie, I'll just kind of do the first movie first, and then we'll do the second one, because I'm getting ahead of myself. So the first movie, it takes place in some, I don't know, third world country. I don't know. I think it's India. I don't know. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. I should have watched it right before I did this, but now that the second one came out, I just kind of want to give my thoughts on it. So the first one came out, and I was like, geez, this is like, he basically is trying to save a kid through the whole movie. And everything goes wrong. And at this point, when I was watching this movie, I was thinking just like how Chris Hemsworth is in the movie. I feel like he's the new Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, he is just amazing. And the way he handles, I mean, just the stuff, it's just beat down, like literally just like this guy is always within an inch of death halfway through this movie. And it just, by the end, he's just so exhausted and like worn down and just shot up, and everything's wrong, and he's like on a bridge. But he basically is about to die, kind of thing. That's what you feel like. I'm not going to spoil it or anything, but he's like right on death's door, I'll put it that way. But he does save the kid, and everything works out or whatever from these drug dealers and trafficking drugs and this like international group of evil people, whatever. So he does a great job. And now that's kind of the first one. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to break down every scene of the first one because the first one's out there. You can watch it on Netflix, whatever. The second one, though, just kind of leads off or starts off right on the bridge where he's basically about to die and he falls off the bridge and whatever. in reality he would have probably died, but because this first one did pretty well, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I liked it anyway. The second one starts off with that, and it's kind of like a build up kind of thing where you show like scenes of him getting better and healing, and he's in the hospital or whatever, and his buddies from the first movie, the Indian girl or whatever she is, from what nationality, what country. Anyway, she's awesome. I just think she's cool, especially more in Extraction 2. I think she does a great job. She's a very likable person that's right there with him, and you take her seriously. And it's not a girl power type of thing. It's not, it's not like she's undercutting him and making the show about her. It's really about him. And it's a father story too, because that's like I forgot to mention that in the first movie he had a son that died or whatever, and so he's kind of like doing this type of stuff out of kindness of his heart type of thing. I think it was a son that died. Anyway, but yeah, this kind of, you get the feeling in this one that he's just doing this because he has nothing, kind of. There's even some references to basically he has everything, and all his stuff is in like a little cardboard box. So that's kind of sad. But the character, Tyler Rake, is likable in a lot of ways, because this guy, he's not like this over the top like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like he's this, he's egotistical. No, this guy is just like, he's giving every single thing. He's giving up his life basically to save people. And it's a really good hero. It's a good fatherly type of role model. We don't get those anymore. I don't have kids, so I don't know, but I'm just saying, I feel like when I'm watching this, I'm like, this guy is like a good role model, like something that he's willing to sacrifice himself to save people. And in the second movie, he goes into a prison. First off, the second movie is amazing because I think it's better than the first one, but I probably should watch the first one again before I really make that decision, but I think it is. The beginning portion of the movie is him going to rescue a family that's living in a prison with the kid's father, and the woman and the son basically are just, well, and they have a daughter too. Anyway, and they're basically in the prison with him. And they're living in prison with him, which is kind of weird. And it's kind of like a Russian-ish kind of, a Russian type of country. Well, anyway, it's Georgia, the country Georgia or whatever. So whatever that is, but basically it feels like Russians. And then there's a lot of weird stuff with the Catholic Church, and it's like the bad guy thinks he's like a Christian, and he's like a Catholic Christian or something, which is weird because how can he write off all of the killing and violence that he does toward people? The guy is so evil that he shoves basically a thing right through this guy's throat and kills him, like just after he's talking to him like nothing. So you really get the feeling that this guy's a real bad guy. So it's cool that we have a real bad guy that's not just some, he might be good kind of thing, or maybe he can be saved later. No, these movies really focus on real bad guys and really good guys. And of course, the second one has the kid of this guy, but he's kind of like a teenager, so he's kind of swayed by his father, who's evil. And so Chris Hemsworth just gets these guys out of prison, the family, and he just goes on like a super God mode thing. Now, keep in mind that he had taken months out to kind of heal at his little shack in the woods for a while after the first film and all the stuff that he went through there. Anyway, but now he's like God mode, and this is like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie on crack, because it's like action for like 20 minutes straight, nonstop. It feels like one sequence, but I'm sure it's cut in places, but it's done so well. That's why I wanted to name the director in the beginning, because this guy deserves a lot of credit for how he filmed this. But anyway, it goes from a prison yard or a prison to a prison yard, getting in fights, getting knocked out, hearing the high pitched noise as his ears are ringing and all that stuff, and from that to getting the girl, getting everybody, getting on a train and he's got his little team and everything, and they break these people out of the prison. They get on this train, and he's in God mode with this giant freaking gun. It's like a mini gun or whatever, just huge. It's like what I like to have in Far Cry when I play it. It's just amazing. And he's just literally, you could see him going up on the top of the train, going down, shooting at helicopters, the whole works. Villains just coming out of the woodwork, flying, everything. Everything. They're just coming down. There's like a chase. The chase is just, this is a great film. Like, this is the greatest part. Well, I don't think it's the greatest part of the film, but it's amazing how this is done. I just can't give enough credit for this to this director on how well he filmed this action sequence. And you really feel like you're watching like an 80s action hero movie, and Chris Hemsworth is amazing as this guy. So you get through that, and then it's like a slow time for a short period of time, and they're in like Dubai or something, and there's this high, like a skyscraper or whatever, and they're trying to like work things out so they can get the family out, and of course the villain finds them, and there's just fights that are just unbelievable on this skyscraper. And I don't like heights. I don't like skyscrapers, especially when I'm watching a movie with somebody like standing on glass and they have to fight on glass. Anyway, if you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And there are some sequences where you're just like, oh my God, just, oh my God. It's just amazing that he makes it through. But of course, it's relentless. The action in this movie, the way it keeps going and going and going. And finally at the end, I think the end is it's not as powerful. Well, it's not as action-packed as the beginning, but it does make sense how it ends, and it does kind of end in kind of a small quarters, it ends at like some church or empty building type of church type of old place. Anyway, and you get to see the villain, of course, and him fighting, and there's this whole stuff where he has the kid, whatever, has a bomb on his, like, a vest, and and every time there's people getting shot and people just like, you're just like, this guy is going to die. The main character is so close to dying. I mean, he's always like just on the edge of death. And he's doing this to save this family and whatever. Anyway, and of course he overcomes, but I'm not going to tell you how he overcomes and all that stuff. I'm not going to spoil this one because this is just a good old-fashioned action movie, and this one, even more than the first one, really needs to be in the movie theater. This is like, if John Wick can be in the movie theaters, this should be in the movie theater, because I think this has more big screen value than even a John Wick movie. Now, I know people like John Wick. I'm not a huge fan of John Wick movies, but I actually thought this one, just the explosions, the action, all the stuff that's going on, it just feels like it's like a big screen type of movie. And for Netflix to just put it on Netflix and just you can watch it, yeah, that's great and everything. I got a pretty decent sized TV in my living room, but boy, this movie would do wonders in the theater. And I'm sure a lot of people would love to see this movie. And it's a manly movie. I mean, Chris Hemsworth is just built. He's just ready to go. He is so this is like the man's movie, okay? There's nothing, there's no agenda in this movie. I'll put it that way. This movie has naturally, the way they did it, there is other races and stuff in there, but it's not like saying, hey, look, we got the black guy. Oh, look, we got the woman. They're not doing that in this movie. And that's what I like about how they do these movies. They're not pushing this, like, they're not putting actors in that don't really act very well just so they can say, hey, we got the black guy. Oh, hey, we got the woman. And the white guy, he's always a bad guy. They didn't do that with this. The white guy's out front, and it doesn't even matter his race. He's a good guy, and he's working with this Indian woman, and she's a good person. And then there's another guy who's another race, and they all work together really well. And there's Elba. I can't think of his name. Anyway, Idris Elba is in this too, and he plays kind of like the guy that's trying to get together a team kind of thing, and he's really good in this too. I mean, nobody is bad in this movie, and the bad guys are bad. They're not coming back as good guys later. It's just everything is well done. And I know some of it might be unbelievable almost because he gets knocked down, he falls downstairs, he gets back up. But that's what they do in most action movies anyway. So it's like, this movie at least you get, and also it has heart. That's another thing. By the end of this, you feel what Chris Hemsworth is feeling. You actually you feel for him. You actually can relate to him, and you understand why he's doing what he's doing. And he's not this super righteous person. He's screwed up in his life, but he's trying to do better. It's just a good, well-rounded action movie. And that's what we need right now. And in 2020, when the first one came out, that was a great thing to be able to watch just at home while you're staying there or whatever, because, you can't do any work because, God forbid. Anyway, and so at least they put out a good film, and I'm glad that they decided to make a second one, even though in the end of that first one, I pretty much thought that Chris Hemsworth died at the end of that, but okay. So, I would say you got to watch these, because I'm sure, I know they are going to make a third one now because of how this one ended. I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to take off. These movies are good action films, and they're really good father films. If you got like a teenage son or somebody who, if your son can understand the violence or whatever, and you can, I don't know, it's up to you as a parent. But when I was watching violent movies like RoboCop and Aliens and stuff when I was like really young, like 10, I don't know. So I don't know if it was Aliens. I think it was Alien, the first one. But anyway, I watched all that stuff, I survived. I don't know. It's up to you. But my point is, this is a great father-son type of movie because there is definite toxic masculinity in this movie because, I mean, it's a man being a man, standing up and protecting women, protecting a family, a woman and her children. He's protecting everyone, doing what a man should do. We need more men like that. So that's why I love this movie. I just love, there's a lot of good, I understand he's killing a lot of people, but he's killing villains that are really bad, not just a little bad, like really bad guys. So, I don't know. I would just say you got to watch this. I don't really do scores on these things. I just kind of just give you my thoughts right off the top of my head. I don't have any real, I don't follow a script. I just kind of go with however I feel. And I just say that this movie is well worth watching. Definitely check it out. And I probably talked too much already. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. Tell me what you think in the comments. If you have seen it, tell me what you think. If you haven't seen it, I didn't spoil anything really, so you really should check it out. And I would say that you'll probably like it if you like old Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, like Die Hard. If you like stuff like that, you're going to like this. Because this feels like a great action movie with a new type of action hero. And Chris Hemsworth could be a great action hero if they just kept him like this in a lot of movies. I'm not saying typecast him, but I'm just saying that he could do a lot of great roles and be a great manly hero for boys and kids to grow up looking at. He's a good role model, is what I'm saying. So tell me what you think in the comment section below, and like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.